I think more Albertans need to listen to each other instead of dismissing someone as not being part of their tribe.
These days, it's easy to block and mute your way into only hearing from those you politically agree with. But experts say that's part of what's leading to the polarization we're seeing with border blockades and convoys.
We've stopped listening to each other. Our research shows that only 40% of Albertans talk to someone about politics who's on the opposite side of the political spectrum within the last week. Only 40%.
Professor Jared Wesley understands the underlying anxiety of those protesting, economic uncertainty, job loss, feeling left behind.
They're more interested in dividing us, in scaring us, in manipulating us, than they are working with us and helping our families.
And as we hear from those live streaming that they feel a new division, for Wesley, he's been watching political polarization in Alberta simmer and grow over the last decade, between the shift in political views from the days of decade-long stretches of conservative majorities, but also far-right actors latching on to the anxiety of the day to fuel more anger and angst for financial and political gain.
When people don't feel listened to, they'll turn to people that seem to be listening to them. And those people, as we've seen here, sometimes have nefarious intentions, including toppling democratically elected governments.
He's referring to this legally confusing memorandum of understanding by one of the Ottawa convoy groups that, while not necessarily directly connected to all protests, is being touted for launching the latest round of unrest.
We can't leave it to just this small group of people. We need to up the game again.
Many of those protesting in southern Alberta and Ottawa express they think they represent the majority of Canadians. And while a recent Angus Reid poll shows 54% of Canadians are ready for COVID restrictions to end, a new poll from Abacus Data out Thursday found 68% of respondents feel they have very little in common with how convoy protesters see things. And 57% found them offensive and inappropriate. And of course, the biggest poll of them all when Canadians cast their ballot in the 2021 federal election. But Wesley says you can't ignore the partisanship and lack of truly listening to each other.
The way that Canadian politics has been done traditionally. And I think that's what's so jarring for Canadians now, looking at what the events that are going on now. They can't explain how we got to this point. What I would tell them is it's been a long road to that, with politicians that are willing to exploit divisions for political gain, and quite frankly, citizens that are willing to go along with it. And until we actually start talking with one another seriously about what our common concerns are and what our common dreams and hopes are as Albertans or Canadians, we're not going to get back on that path to stability.
And that divide has real-world consequences. City News has confirmed Edmonton police are investigating the assault of a hairdresser who was allegedly assaulted for sharing her opinions against the convoy movement. In Edmonton, Carly Robinson, City News.